That was in Kenya, and two men who have recently returned from a trip to Kenya are Peter Gaynor, who's Executive Director of Fairtrade Mark Ireland, and Bobby Kerr, who's CEO of Insomnia Coffee Company. Peter, we'll talk about your trip to Kenya in a little while. First of all, fill us in on the thinking behind Fairtrade.
Well, Fairtrade is an initiative that's supported by all the overseas development agencies, the groups that work in countries, places like Africa. And it was set up on the realisation that people in places like Africa are poor, not because they don't produce anything, not because they don't work extremely hard, but they're poor a lot of the time because they get a tiny fraction of the value of the goods that we're buying from them. And the fair trade mark was set up then as an independent guarantee when you find it on products that the people who produce the coffee, the chocolate, the coffee, the cocoa, the tea, that these people have received a better deal, a little bit more money from the value of the goods that we've bought.
And what are the benefits, the real benefits for the people in Africa?
There are all kinds of benefits. The main one is that they're assured a guaranteed price for their coffee or their tea. So a lot of these commodities, they have huge swings in terms of price, so they get a steady price. And that's a big safety net for people, if you like. On top of that, they get a bonus or a premium. And all of that's invested in business projects and in community development projects. So they don't necessarily use it, though they can, for income support. But because of the poverty in communities, a lot of the time they choose to actually use it to build schools, to put in wells for clean water. So it's community development projects. Is it viable? It's certainly, I think, as someone has said, it's definitely a route we're going to have to go down. If we want sustainable business, if we want people not to live in abject poverty while we have very successful businesses, then we have to go down this route of fair trade. I think we were in Kenya and Tanzania with Bobby from Insomnia. Bobby's one good example, but there are loads of others in Ireland.
Bobby, going fair trade with Insomnia was a big business decision. Why did you decide to go fair trade?
We've been 100% fair trade for all our coffee and tea since 2006, and it was a decision we came to after a number of years. Firstly, the availability of supply. Most of our coffee comes from Ethiopia, so it is African. But there was problems in the early days around continuity of supply. And as fair trade has grown, so has the availability of product, which is fantastic. So we've found it a very difficult thing to do in one sense, in that we had to change blends and that. But once we went there, we were never going anywhere else.
Why?
It's a fantastic way of giving something back and just having some conscience to make sure that people are being paid properly for it.
Now, I know people are watching you here on this programme, Bobby, and saying, where have I seen him before? And they will know you as a dragon from Dragon's Den. So therefore you will have a keen eye on the business side of things. Why is this good business?
It's good business because it's good business. I'm very profit focused, and you'll know from some of my one-liners, etc., on the Dragon's Den, that I can be very quick and very, and profit is a big focus of mine. But it's easy if you. I think it's good business because people appreciate that you give something back, and it's a kind of an intangible, and very hard to quantify in a monetary sense. But if you're doing something that benefits people, it has to be good, and good equals good business in my view.